I'd like to call the Oakland County Board of Commissioners meeting for March 8, 2018 to order, and I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Berman.
Here.
Bowman. Crawford.
Here.
Dwyer.
Here.
Fleming.
Here.
Gershenson. Gingell.
Here.
Hoffman.
Here.
Jackson. Kokendorfer.
Here.
Kowal. Long. McGilvray.
Here.
Middleton.
Here.
Quarles. Spiz.
Present.
Taub. Teets.
Here.
Whitebert.
Here.
Woodward. Zach.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum, 100% attendance. Yay.
Okay, thank you very much. This morning our invocation will be given by the Honorable Bill Dwyer. I'd ask that you all please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Please bow our heads. Our prayer for today is, Our Lord and God, we come to you with the responsibility of serving people, knowing that in doing so, we serve you. As our country was established and founded by those who wish to honor you, may you do the same in honoring our decisions today. Our founding fathers believed that all people are created equal and are endowed with certain rights. Among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. May our troops overseas be protected from the evil as they promote and protect the rights you have given to all, regardless of race, color, creed, or nationality. Would you also protect those in public safety who protect us in our homeland? Protect the families of the 22 officers who have died in this year of 2018. Bless and protect the victims of violence, including those of the most recent tragedy in Parkland, Florida. We humbly ask that your guiding hand would lead us through the decisions we make today so that we will leave to our children and grandchildren a country of which they will truly be proud of. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the approval of the minutes for February 21st, 2018. Take a motion from Whitebert, supported by Quarles. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The minutes have been approved. Now on to the approval of the agenda, and for that I'll call on the Majority Vice Chair, Commissioner Tom Berman. Commissioner Berman.
Thank you, Chairman. We have two modifications currently on the consent agenda. Planning and Building Committee, item B. We are seeking a waiver of Rule 3. The resolution was taken up by Public Services Committee immediately prior to today's meeting, and the resolution was already approved by Planning and Building February 13th and also approved by Human Resources on February 28th, and there's a fiscal note approved by Finance on March 1st, 2018. We also have Finance Committee item B to be placed on the consent agenda. We're asking or seeking for a waiver of Rule 3. The resolution was taken up by Finance Committee immediately prior to today's meeting. That's it.
Okay, so I'll take a motion from Berman to amend the agenda to include those two items as under the respective consent agenda areas. Support by Jackson. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the amended agenda.
All right. Commissioners Bowman. Yes. Crawford.
Yes.
Dwyer.
Yes.
Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson. Gingell.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Jackson. Kokendorfer. Kowal.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Quarles. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub.
Yes.
Teets. Whitebert.
Yes.
Woodward. Zach.
Yes.
Furman.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays.
21 yeas, 0 nays. The amended agenda is approved. And we'll move into the communication area of our agenda. And this is the opportunity where we get a chance to hear from individuals and organizations that are coming to make a presentation, as well as to recognize those individuals and organizations that are doing great things in Oakland County. So we have a presentation and a proclamation this morning, and we'll start with the presentation. So for that, I'd like to call on Brian Van Dorn from the United Way for Southeast Michigan, and Commissioner Woodward, if you'd like to make any comment prior to the presentation, feel free.
It's election year.
Hey, I don't do this very often, so. And I mean, this is really important. I mean, we have a proclamation and a resolution at the end of the meeting recognizing the importance of National Breakfast Week in our schools. Brian brings an incredible amount of expertise, having worked in this space for a number of times and now in kind of a practitioner of facilitating these programs. To talk about really the scale and the importance, this is all rooted in the fundamental value that if one child is going to school hungry, that is too many, and what can we do to prevent that in the first place. So Brian's going to just a very quick presentation of the work that's happening around in Oakland County, and then we'll present a presentation thanking them for their work, and then a resolution at the end of the meeting. Right? There you go.
Thank you very much. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Board of Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning to talk a little bit with you. Is there something I need to do to get this up on the screen? It's awake and alive. Everybody's awake and alive.
We went to sleep.
Will help.
IT people just left.
No problem.
No.
Well, what I can do is talk a little bit about us at the United Way for Southeastern Michigan. We've been working since about 2010, specifically in providing more access for children to child nutrition programs that already exist. These are the National School Lunch and Breakfast programs that operate in schools, the Summer Feeding Program, or Meet Up and Eat Up, as you might know. All right, perfect. We are all better with breakfast. Show of hands, real quick show of hands. Anybody in the room not have a breakfast this morning? Couple of us, okay. All right. Well, if we magnify that scale and we're able to show what happens when we get a large percentage of students in a classroom, young students, all the way up through high school students, in a classroom that haven't had breakfast, they're unable to concentrate, they have more trips to the nurse, and multiple things can follow. So again, at the United Way for Southeastern Michigan, one of the things that we've been doing is investing heavily in these schools. We do not serve meals. We do not administer meals. All of that is done through the Department of Education at the state level, an organization which I used to work for, working specifically in these community-based programs. But what we do is we provide a system-level look at the program, and we try to provide opportunities to give more access to more kids. So what's the problem? What are we talking about? Well, when kids start the day without that nutritious meal, the problem of hunger becomes more than just a health issue. Again, myself, my daughter knows, my 7-year-old daughter knows very well that if dad doesn't have breakfast, you know, dad might not be the greatest person to be around in the morning. So again, if you amplify that on a scale of all of our school children, not just here in Oakland County, but around the state and around the country, that problem becomes much bigger. This is an education issue. If our education providers and our administrators are expected to deliver on increased third grade reading levels or increased proficiency in math, what happens when a kid doesn't have breakfast is that the opportunity for that child to learn that material on that day is just not as easy. It's also an economic issue. What happens when that child then becomes a high school student and is struggling to graduate on time, has a decrease in opportunities in the job market, and then again, that economic issue compounds as they get older. It affects students, teachers, administrators, and the future of our community. 3 out of 4 educators say that they regularly see kids coming to school hungry. That's an alarming number. I mean, some of us in the room could possibly be former teachers or current teachers. We may know teachers, and I can guarantee you that if you ask a teacher if they've ever had a kid come to school hungry or if they have food in the bottom of their drawer just in case, most of them will tell you yes. So it is a pervasive problem. 9 out of 10 educators say that eating a healthy breakfast is key to academic achievement. Well, that's obvious. So what I wanted to do really quickly, again, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I appreciate the support and the ability to stand here today, is provide some Oakland County specific numbers. 54% of the free and reduced price students that are eating a lunch here in Oakland County, only 54% of them are also getting a breakfast. This isn't because breakfast programs don't exist. This is because that the way that they are administered is not necessarily set up for equitable access. So we have about 200,000 students in Oakland County that are enrolled in school buildings that have access to the school lunch program. Of those, About 69,000 of those are eligible for free and reduced price meals. Okay? Take it down another level. Of those students that are eligible, only 42,000 are actually receiving a lunch. This is the number that we use to qualify as a proxy for the need in the community. So just because a child is eligible for free and reduced price meals or their family meets the economic thresholds doesn't mean that they're necessarily in need or hungry. Of those 42,000 students that we indicate as a proxy for the need in the community, 23,000 of them are getting a breakfast. That's 54%. It's not nothing, but it's also a far cry from where we could be. So what that's telling us is that there are potentially 19,000 students every single day in Oakland County that are receiving a lunch, remember that proxy of need, but not necessarily having access to a breakfast. And again, it's not because the breakfast programs don't exist. We spend a lot of our time going into school buildings, working with administrators and talking with them about what are some of these barriers. Well, breakfast is offered down in the cafeteria every single day, 30 minutes before school starts. If I just let you ponder on that for a minute, you can probably come up with a couple of complications and what that leads to. So what our goal has been is to rise all of our school buildings that we're focusing on above 70%. And when I go through these numbers, I want you all to kind of think about the other schools, the buildings that we're not talking about. There are a whole host of buildings in Oakland County and around the state that are doing very well, that are serving upwards of 90, and in some cases, more than 100% of the students that are eating lunch also getting a breakfast. So again, if our goal is 70%, the number of school buildings here in Oakland County that are participating in lunch is 348. The number of school buildings that have 50% or more of their student population free or reduced price is 120. That's 34%. The number of those school buildings that are below our 70% goal or that threshold is 63. So again, we're talking about a relatively small number of schools. Many of the school buildings in Oakland County are doing well. And in a lot of cases, there are good examples happening right in that single district at the elementary level where they're doing breakfast in the classroom, reaching a large percentage of their kids. But what happens is that as those children go through the grade levels, it becomes less and less accessible. Asking a high school student to get out of bed even earlier to get to school, to be in the cafeteria for a breakfast, is oftentimes a hard task.
Excuse me one second.
Yeah.
So you're saying 25,000 in Oakland County are not receiving?
Not necessarily. So the number of free and reduced students in those 63 school buildings that are performing under 70% is 25,000. If we were to lift and raise all of those school buildings over 70%, it would impact about 10,000 additional kids. You know, when you're talking about 200,000 students in the county, 10,000 kids is not a small number.
Well, 10,000 kids is a lot of kids.
Right? And these are only buildings that we're targeting. This doesn't mean that other buildings that are over 70% couldn't be doing a little bit more. So what are some of the solutions, really quick? What we found, and working with our national partner, the Share Our Strength, the National No Kid Hungry campaign, we've been able to isolate in data that if you implement breakfast in the classroom, that's bringing breakfast to the classroom after the bell rings, you're going to reach about 88% of the kids that are getting lunch. Remember, that lunch number is the one that we indicate as a proxy for the need. Second chance breakfast. High schools are doing this now where they'll actually implement breakfast after the first period. It's hard enough to get kids to school on time, let alone get them there early enough for breakfast. So after that first period, serving breakfast then. Or there's another model that we've used called Grab and Go. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be, because this is National School Breakfast Week, we're going to be in Hazel Park, right here in Oakland County, where they've implemented a grab and go model right at the front door at the high school. Kids come into the building and they grab that lunch. Are they serving all 900 kids that are enrolled in that school building? No. But are they serving more students breakfast than they are lunch? Yes. And what we're doing is we're hosting some of you all, as well as some state representatives out to really see that program in action. And I encourage you, if you all want to come at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning in Hazel Park, to come and join us. Making breakfast part of the school day is really what our pitch has been about. Traditional breakfast in the cafeteria before school doesn't work. So United Way for Southeastern Michigan has been working closely with school districts, with community organizations here in Oakland County and around the region, in addition to building relationships at the state level to continue that work to really focus in on the policy and the advocacy side. Because what we're finding is that this is a bigger problem than what's going on in one single school building. Any questions? Yes.
First of all, I want to invite everybody to join Commissioner Woodward and I at 7 a.m. Hazel Park High School. It's 23400 Hughes in Hazel Park, and please join us. And when you talk about these grab and go, are we serving healthy, nutritious food? Give me an example of what we're doing.
Yeah, well, what I can tell you is that they meet the federal guidelines for what qualifies as a breakfast in these programs. They all have a reimbursement behind them, and that's a big point to make, is that as we increase participation, this is not only a revenue neutral proposition, this is potentially a revenue positive situation for a school, because as participation increases, the reimbursement that is already allocated and already funneling through these buildings increases. So each one of those meals meets a certain criteria. They have to have a grain component. There's a milk component, a fruit and vegetable component. And so yes, they are serving healthy, nutritious meals. Once we are able to see what's being served and we're reaching every kid with access, then we have those discussions with school districts who want to do more, who want to implement fresh and local foods into their menus.
So is there a way for us to see who's participating, who's not? Because we have relationships with our different districts, and if there's holes and gaps, maybe we can help champion this.
Absolutely.
So that would be helpful if, I don't know if you have the information, who has it, if that can be given to our staff here and distributed to us.
Absolutely. I can follow up with both of you with additional data focusing specifically on Oakland County. And again, remember, we're focusing on making sure that kids have access to meals 365 days a year. So we're working with the Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency for their summer Meet Up and Eat Up program, where they're delivering meals on a mobile route and sites within Richmond. So there are multiple opportunities throughout the year, and breakfast is one of those where we have some very clear gaps. There's some really good things happening in Oakland County in addition to the rest of the state, and we continue to capitalize on those and try to bring that to the rest of the county.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I know we have a proclamation, Dave, if you want to come up, but let me just say on behalf of the board, thank you for coming out and giving us the presentation. United Way does a lot of great things. Kyle DeBuck is our liaison, and he's active and visible out here, so we know that you're doing good work. And then just as an aside, obviously something we want to continue to be aware of. The board has worked with Oakland Hope to try to put the first food pantry in Oakland County, but there's certainly many other things that we can work together on, so appreciate you coming out this morning. So, Dave?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we do have a proclamation that we want to present to Brian, particularly on his work on behalf of United Way on this particular topic. But I think it's really important to remember that when we talk about kids in need of food and breakfast, lunch, there might be an idea of the communities in which this is more prevalent, but I assure that in every one of our districts, there are thousands of families that are struggling to figure out how to actually feed the family every single day. And regardless if we're the wealthiest community or the poorest community, there are communities in need. And I think this program and the leadership under Brian with United Way for Southeastern Michigan is a great step forward in figuring out how we can further partner to really hit that 70% goal. I like very concrete, measurable goals. I mean, rising participation, the free and reduced lunch up to 70%, getting that participation in those 63 schools, getting 10,000 kids that we estimate that are in need of getting access to breakfast is going to improve the education in our community. It's going to improve the economy of our community, and it's definitely the right thing to do. So, without any further ado, we have this, on behalf of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, this proclamation honoring School Breakfast Week, whereas we believe that no child should go to school hungry, and whereas the school breakfast program is one of many excellent child nutrition programs dedicated to the health and well-being of our nation's children. Whereas established in 1975, the school breakfast program is a federally assisted meal program operating in public and nonprofit with public and nonprofit private schools, and residential child care institutions. And whereas research shows that meals provided at school not only contribute to the nutritional needs of students, but also significantly increase and enhance their ability to learn, positively impact attendance, raise test scores, and even graduation rates. And whereas United Way for Southeast Michigan works to improve the quality of life for children throughout the Tri-County area by investing in programs like the school breakfast program, and in partnership with Share Our Strength, United Way is helping provide grant funding to implement the school breakfast program in more than 100 high-need schools in Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, Kent, Ingham, and Genesee counties. And whereas we commend United Way for Southeast Michigan for their tremendous efforts to increase participation and gain awareness of the school breakfast program among children and families, school administrators, and the public. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Mike Gingell, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, together with myself, Commissioner Hoffman, Berman, Crawford, Taub, Gershenson, Quarles, Zach, McGilvery, Jackson, Bowman, well, the entire Board of Commissioners, attests on this 8th day of March that we recognize School Breakfast Week, and thank you for all your work. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
One more. We do that all summer too. All summer they collect food for the, but they forget they're not getting food during the school year. They get the food and then they do.
So at this point in time, I'll just ask the clerk if there's any other communications to come before us this morning.
We have two this morning. The first is dated February 23rd, 2018. Dear Board of Commissioners, on behalf of the West Bloomfield Board of Education, I would like to thank the Board of Commissioners for approving our application for the Oakland County School Drinking Water Program. The LK Combo Filler and Fountain Model LZ8WSLP drinking water units will be welcome additions to our schools. The school drinking water program's goal of developing positive, healthy drinking water habits and educating young people on eco-friendly methods to reduce environmental waste by reusing water containers is a very important one. The West Bloomfield School District is proud of its many health education programs. These water units with their educational component will add to those initiatives. Sincerely, Dr. Gerald Hill, Superintendent, West Bloomfield School District. That one. And the second one is dated today, March 8th, 2018, to the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, please be advised of the following changes to the Board of Commissioners standing committees. Commissioner David Bowman will be removed from the Finance Committee and be reassigned to the Economic Development and Community Affairs Committee. Commissioner Nancy Quarles will be removed from the Economic Development and Community Affairs Committee and be reassigned to the Finance Committee. These changes will take effective immediately. Your confirmation of these appointments is respectfully requested. Sincerely, Michael J. Gingell, Chairman, Oakland County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you very much for the communications. Prior to receiving and filing them, I want to just take a motion on the actual changes for the committee, since it is a vote that's generally required by the board. So I'll take a motion by Middleton, supported by Woodward, and we'll just do a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. So now, with that vote, the communications from this morning will be received and filed without objection. And now we'll move on to the public comment portion of our meeting. We do have one individual that signed up. If you're here to speak and you didn't get a chance to sign up, I'll recognize you at the end of public comment. We have a microphone set up in the back that should be live and functioning, and you can address your comments to the board. We have a timer here. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. If the time runs out, you'll hear a beep, and then I'll just ask you to conclude as quickly as possible. So first we have Dennis Wolf, and welcome.
Thank you. I provided a lot of material to my Ms. Long, my commissioner, but I'd like to say a couple of things. But you had a resolution which cited the problems with smart meters. A number of people testified. There have been committee hearings in Lansing in January and February. They didn't have enough time for the people all in January. They scheduled new hearings before the House relative to HB 4220. I'm asking that this board support the passage of HB 220 for analog meter choice. I've been in contact with my representative, Mr. Kesto, and he told me just go and put a shield on the meter or any of the other meters that are outside my wall. I called DTE Energy, and they cited MCL 750363, destruction of certain property in connection with appliance or component of electric communication, telecommunication, or gas infrastructure that is a property of the utility. And it's a 5-year felony to destroy or to divert electricity. This was passed in 1931, updated over the years through 2009. I don't want to destroy anything. I don't want to prevent the meter from operating. What I want to do is put a shield on it. And these shields are approved, sold all over the country. Best Buy has them. Amazon has them. DTE says if I put a shield on the meter, like Mr. Kesto told me to do, they will prosecute me for a felony. Now, I would like this board to put some bite behind their resolution. Allow people and pass something that would allow people to shield themselves, to protect their health. And also, I want you to know my story and why I'm so adamant about this. The shield would only be a Band-Aid. I mean, we need meter choice. I went to Florida. Now, in 2012, when they put my meter in, I was a healthy person. There's never been any diabetes in my family. There's never been any problems. I did the medically impossible within months of the meter being installed. My pancreas shut down. I became a type 1 diabetic. My sugar levels shot up. Later, we found out they were looking for tumors. I had lost 44 pounds in 8 weeks. Over 800. They couldn't calculate how high. They wouldn't let me out of the doctor's office, fearing I'd have a heart attack, and they had to get this down. Now, fast forward. I take insulin. I take Levemir FlexPen once a day, 42 units, and the cost is $895. But fast forward, I go to Florida last month. Florida has choice. And I didn't know that the facility, the hotel I stayed at, didn't have a smart meter. It had the analog meter. Within 4 days, my sugar normalized. I kept checking and checking, called the doctor. For the rest of my trip, I did not need insulin. For some reason, when I got away from the smart meters, my pancreas began to produce insulin again. I got home. Within 2 days, my wife was a registered nurse. My sugar level shot up to almost 400. My wife said, you got to take the insulin. You're going to die. I'm asking that this board allow us to pass a resolution to do two things. One, to allow us to shield these meters, at least to mitigate the effects. It will not cause the meter to be damaged. It will not cause the meter to not function at its highest level. It will cause no harm. DTE is arbitrarily saying, we will prosecute you for a 5-year felony if you should shield the meter. Now, I gave material to my Representative Ms. Long. One of those is what Europe and other countries are doing. They're actually in Sweden, when they found there were problems and people were getting sick, they ordered the utility to put shielding within the meter. And when they did that and the radiation was not entering people's homes or spreading throughout within 100 feet outside, through my windows, through my walls, the health problems stopped. But they invested the money.
Sure.
So that's one thing. I would like to be able to protect myself without fear of prosecution and put a shield on my meter, and so would many of my neighbors. Secondly, I want the landlord. They don't own the meter. They own the moorings to which the meter is connected. DTE verified that. They have no ownership or stake in these meters. No landlord should be removing these fixtures if they're slipped on, and they should not be threatening people with eviction should they try to protect their health. You have the capability to act upon these issues while we wait what the legislature is going to do. At this time, there are 3 members of the Energy Committee, not to admonish Republicans, they just happen to be Republicans, who are preventing this House Bill 4220, which has now been endorsed by the AARP and organizations of health organizations, et cetera, all over the state of Michigan and the United States. In counties, last comment, in counties in California, they've actually outlawed these meters. I'm asking you, if you have the ability to outlaw them tomorrow based on your resolution and give people choice to get their analog meter, as they do in Arizona, Florida, and numerous other states, I'd appreciate it. But one, I want to mitigate with a shield, and I want to have the ability to do that, which isn't going to cause any problems without fear of prosecution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here this morning that'd like to speak in public comment that didn't get a chance to sign up? Seeing none, we'll close public comment, and we'll move to the standing reports of our standing committees, starting with the consent agenda and all items on the consent. Take a motion from Fleming, supported by McGilvery. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the consent agenda items.
Commissioners Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson? Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson? Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal? Long?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Teets? Teets? Gone. Okay, no. Whitebird?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The items on the consent agenda have been approved. And now we'll move on to the regular agenda, and we have 2 committees to come before us this morning. We'll start with the General Government Committee. And I'll call on the chairperson of that committee, Commissioner Christine Long. Commissioner Long.
Hey, good morning. First item is 52 3rd District Court Division, Rochester Hills, approval of the 52nd District Court Magistrate, Karen M. Holt. And I guess, Chairperson, on behalf of the General Government Committee, I move the adoption of the foregoing resolution.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Long, supported by Zach. Any discussion? Did it have a fiscal note with it as well?
No.
Okay, so we'll just move the approval of the resolution as requested by Commissioner Long, supported by Zach. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson? Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman? Jackson?
Yes.
Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal? Long?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Teets, did he come back? No, okay. Whitebird?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been approved. Commissioner Long.
All right, second item, Board of Commissioners Regional Convention Facility Authority Citizen Advisory Council appointment. The General Government Committee, having considered the appointment on February 26, 2018, hereby recommends the reappointment of Mavita Burris to the Regional Convention Facility Authority Citizens Advisory Council to serve a 4-year term beginning March 3rd, 2018 through March 2nd, 2022. Chairperson, on behalf of the General Government Committee, I move the acceptance of the foregoing report.
Okay, so for the appointments, we'll first move to accept the report. Moved by Long, supported by Quarles. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Report's been accepted. Now on the appointments, moved by Long, supported by Quarles. Any discussion?
Just one real. Marvita Burris came into the General Government Committee and gave us a good update. There hasn't been much activity, but she was more than willing to, anyone to contact her if we have any problems or concerns with the Coble Hall or something, to call her. So she was very helpful. So if anyone, that's a great contact.
Good, very good. Okay, so on the appointments, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson? Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman? Jackson? Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal? Long?
Yes.
McGilvery?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub? Teets? No. Did he leave? He left. Oh, okay. Now I just won't call his name anymore. Okay. Whitebert?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The appointments have been confirmed. Commissioner Long.
All right, and the last item, Board of Commissioners, Oakland Community Health Network appointments. The General Government Committee, having considered the appointments on February 26, 2018, hereby recommends the reappointments of Dr. Belijah Hans, Eleanor Respecki, Dr. Stephen Taub, and Adam Furman to the Oakland Community Health Network Board to serve a 3-year term beginning April 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2021. Chairperson, on behalf of the General Government Committee, I move the acceptance of the foregoing report.
So again, we'll start with the acceptance of the report, moved by Long, supported by Bowman. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The report's been accepted. Now on the appointments, moved by Long, supported by Bowman. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
On the appointments, Commissioners Gershenson? Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman? Jackson? Kokendorfer? Kowal? Long?
Yes.
McGilvery?
Yes.
Middleton?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Whitebert?
Yes.
Woodward? Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The appointments have been confirmed. Commissioner Long.
That concludes General Government report.
Next is our Planning and Building Committee, and I'll call on the chairperson of that committee, Commissioner Phil Whitebert. Commissioner Whitebert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today we have two matters. The miscellaneous resolution, In Parks and Recreation Commission Amendment Number 2 to the Oakland County 4-H Association Agreement, Springfield Oaks. I'd ask that be referred to Finance.
Without objection, refer to the Finance Committee.
Next matter is In Department of Facilities Management approval and acceptance of a joint project agreement with the U.S. Department of Commerce for the use of space located in Annex 1 building. I'd ask that also be referred to Finance.
Without objection, refer to the Finance Committee.
And that concludes the report of the Planning and Building Committee.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that'll conclude the reports of our standing committees. We'll now move through the remaining items of business on our agenda. We have no reports of special committees. We do have a special order of business, which is a motion to discharge. So I will call on Commissioner Gershenson regarding the motion to discharge.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would respectfully like to ask my colleagues to consider allowing a motion to discharge this morning. I'm going to make the motion to discharge.
Okay, so we'll take a motion by Gershenson, supported by Woodward. Now, Commissioner Gershenson.
Sorry about that. I would just like to say that these bills are opposed by the American Federation of Teachers, the National Education Association, several law enforcement groups, and many communities, many local communities have come out against allowing individuals to carry concealed weapons in churches, schools, stadiums, bars, and other designated gun-free zones. These bills will force schools to allow individuals to enter their doors with a concealed weapon. Individuals will be able to go to sporting events where people are allowed to drink carrying a concealed weapon. It allows people to carry hidden loaded handguns in college classrooms, dorms, despite opposition from campus stakeholders. The current law does allow trained law enforcement or security officers to carry concealed weapons. So I would like to respectfully ask my colleagues to allow this to come for a vote today.
So let me just make a couple clarifying points. The request is to discharge the resolution so that it can be debated and the matter could be addressed. The vote today is not to vote one way or another on these particular bills or this particular resolution at this point in time. And this is a resolution that has been submitted to one of our committees. It just hasn't been addressed yet. So the vote today is a motion to discharge. It's not voting on the topic of the resolution. Commissioner Woodward.
I mean, to the discharge, like the reason why I feel very firmly it's important to affirm our support in support of students, the public, and safety is in light of what is happening around the country. That staying silent, in my opinion, is not an option. This has been introduced. It has not been scheduled for a hearing. In fact, the next meeting of general government, my understanding, has been canceled. And yet this remains a very important issue. We have taken up issues of immediate importance. The Senate has actually moved these things forward, and frankly, this particular issue, these particular bills, this particular concept has many efforts had start and go stops through the entire legislative process, and it always stops because a massive shooting like the unfortunate incident that happened in Parkland occurs and stalls out making progress on this. And so for the safety of our community, I think it's appropriate. I think people know where people stand. I think it's appropriate for us to take action today.
Okay, any other comments? Commissioner Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. You know, again, I co-sponsored the resolution with Commissioner Gershenson, and we oppose it really as written, and it's very clear that as written is very important to note, because in our opinion, and I've talked to a lot of law enforcement people as myself, you know, I'm back in law enforcement, been a law enforcement officer for many, many years, but it just doesn't take a real sensible, reasonable, and balanced approach, and it really, the key too is it prohibits local control, and that's one of the concerns that we have in law enforcement, and everything else that was noted by Commissioner Gershenson and Commissioner Woodward.
Okay, any other discussion? Commissioner Taub.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, we work on the committee process in this board, and I can see no reason why the committee can't sit down and work this over and decide what they want to put in the resolution. I'm sure Commissioner Gershenson and others would be more than happy to amend or do whatever they need to do about this. This is not the time that we're supposed to be doing committee work. Now, we do have some exceptions to the rule every now and again, special holidays and special occasions. But I'm going to suggest that the committee chair, although he has canceled the next meeting, that at the following meeting that this issue be taken up and then sent to the board. Doesn't make any sense to suspend the rules and have some people vote yes, some people vote no, and then not have committee working on it first. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So just to clarify, within our rules, if an item is submitted and it's not viewed as being taken up in a timely manner, a commissioner has the option to notice and require a motion to discharge, which is what we're doing here today. So the request that's before us is appropriate according to our board rules. However, it's a matter of opinion of should it be continue to work through the committee or not, which I frankly happen to agree with you. So any other discussion this morning? Commissioner McGilvery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree that it probably should go through the committee process, but obviously it hasn't been done. And this is a very a topic that's so important to all the communities around the entire country. Just an example, now we're going to allow concealed weapon carriers to go into a bar and drink, maybe get drunk. And where do a lot of those bar fights happen? Right in the bars. So now we're going to allow those folks to carry a gun. All I'd like to hear is some discussion on it, and that's what I'm asking for.
Any other comments. Commissioner Berman.
Yeah, so what Commissioner Taub said, I agree with 100%, and I think it's important to note what Commissioner McGilvery just mentioned is not even accurate, and I think that's why discussion is important. We should send this to committee and have discussion, and I would support even a special meeting of that committee to do that sooner rather than later, since the next one has been canceled, but now is not the time, in my opinion.
Okay, any other discussion? Commissioner Jackson.
I'm sorry, but my microphone isn't working, so hopefully you can hear me. I just feel as though the resolution that's being presented today is time sensitive just because of the activity and actions as far as the students marching in this country in late March. March the 21st, I believe, is the date of our next meeting. And the large national march is going to be taking place March the 24th. I think that pushing back this doesn't make any sense because we did once already, and another national incident has taken place. I represent a district, Farmington Schools, where the area council PTA came out to oppose the state resolution against carrying concealed weapons in our schools prior to the Parkland shooting, like one day, that same week. So we have constituents that are very concerned about this issue, and for us to push it back doesn't make any sense to me when we had brought this, Commissioner Gershenson and Commissioner Dwyer, who I both sit with on our gun violence committee, brought this forth to speak against the actions in Lansing. So I think as a commission elected by our constituents need to speak for them, and we need to go forth with this today.
Okay, Commissioner Quarles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I'm recalling, this resolution has been around since December of 2017. For whatever the various reasons are that it has not been given the opportunity to be brought out, discussed, deliberated on, I don't understand that. But so at this point, Mr. Chair, I'm asking that we do support the request of the maker, Commissioner Gersner, and we move forward on discharging this so that it can be deliberated on and that it can be brought forth, voted on today, and we will make a decision. Thank you.
Any other comments on the motion to discharge, which is the question before us here? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll. A yes vote would be to discharge the matter. A no vote would be to not discharge the matter.
Clarify then, if you vote to discharge, it goes to committee? No. Or it's discussed right now?
If you vote to discharge, that means that the board is saying that they would like to take action to take it up.
No.
And then if you vote against it, it's dead?
No. No, if you vote against it, the motion to discharge it today is dead. The matter is still in the committee process and following the normal channel and procedure. Okay, so I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Gingell?
No.
Hoffman? No. Jackson? Yes. Kokendorfer?
No.
Kowal? No. Long?
No.
McGilvery?
Yes.
Middleton?
No.
Quarles? Spiz?
No.
Taub?
No.
Weipert?
No.
Woodward?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
No.
Bowman? Yes. Crawford?
No.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
No.
Gershenson?
Yes. I need to split the heads.
So rude. Mr. Chair, you have 8 yeas and 12 nays.
8 yeas and 12 nays. The motion to discharge fails. And now we'll move on to the remaining items on our agenda, starting with new and miscellaneous business. And I know we have a number of folks, but I'll start with Commissioner Kowal and her request.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today I'm introducing a resolution, transparency and accountability concerns involving the Great Lakes Water Authority's recent class action settlements. I'm also asking today for a suspension of the rule because of the timeliness of some meetings that are coming up, so that this resolution will be available to be used by our representatives. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with the request to suspend the rules, moved by Kowal, supported by Zach. It's a non-debatable question. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
On suspension of the rules, Commissioners Hoffman. Yes. Jackson. Yes. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
McGilvray. Yes. Middleton. Yes. Quarles. Yes. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub.
Yes.
Weipert.
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Bowman. Yes. Crawford.
Yes.
Dwyer. Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson. Yes. Gingell.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The rules have been suspended. Now on the resolution, moved by Kowal, supported by Zach. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Jackson. Yes. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
McGilvray. Yes. Middleton. Yes. Quarles. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub. Yes. Weipert.
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Zach. Yes. Berman.
Yes.
Bowman. Bowman.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Dwyer. Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson. Gingell.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Commissioner Gershenson.
Thank you. I would like to introduce a miscellaneous resolution to designate March 2018 as Women's History Month in Oakland County, and I'd like to request a suspension of the rules since it is this month.
So we'll start with the suspension of the rules, moved by Gershenson, supported by Long. It's a non-debatable motion, so I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
On suspension of the rules, Commissioners Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal. Yes. Long.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Middleton. Yes. Quarles. Yes. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub. Yes. Weipert.
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Crawford.
Yes.
Dwyer. Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson.
Yes.
Gingell.
Yes.
Hoffman. Yes. Jackson. Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The rules have now been suspended. I'll take a motion by Gershenson, supported by Long, designated March 2018 as Women's History Month in Oakland County. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Kowal.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Middleton. Quarles. Yes. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub. Weipert.
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Bowman. Crawford.
Yes.
Dwyer. Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson.
Yes.
Gingell.
Yes.
Hoffman. Jackson. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, I want to give motion to discharge another resolution. Can I do that now?
Notice.
Give notice to discharge?
You know what? Yes, I'll take a notice to discharge. Is it? Do you have the resolution number?
18063.
18063. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a resolution to support Senate Bills 469, Restoration of Historic Preservation Tax Credit Program, and I'd like that referred to GG.
Without objection, refer to the General Government Committee. Commissioner Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a miscellaneous resolution, recognition of National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 8th through the 14th, 2018. And because of the time on this, I'm requesting the suspension of the board rules for immediate consideration.
Okay, so we'll start with the request to suspend the rules, moved by Dwyer, supported by Gershenson. It's a non-debatable motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Long,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, sorry, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub, Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach, Berman,
Yes.
Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman, Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal. Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The rules have been suspended, so now we'll take a motion to recognize National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, April 8th through 14th, moved by Dwyer, supported by Gershenson. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners McGilvery,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub, Teets, Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman, Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted.
Thank you.
Commissioner Taub.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to request to suspend the rules of the board for immediate consideration under new business for a miscellaneous resolution recognizing National County Government Month in Oakland County, which will be April of this year.
So I'll take a motion by Taub, supported by Zach, to suspend the rules. It's a non-debatable motion, so I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Okay. Commissioners Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Berman, Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvery.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The rules have been suspended. Now on the resolution, moved by Taub, supported by Zach, recognizing National County Government Month in Oakland County in April 2018. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Berman, Bowman, Crawford, Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Middleton. Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Commissioner Taub.
Yes, I would like to request an additional suspension of the board rules for immediate consideration under new business to designate April 24th, 2018 as Armenian Martyrs Day in Oakland County.
So we'll start with the suspension of the rules, moved by Taub, supported by Woodward. Non-debatable motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach, Berman, Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvery,
Yes.
Middleton, Quarles. Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. Now on the resolution itself, moved by Taub, supported by Woodward. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Taub,
Yes.
Whitebird,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes. Yes.
Zach. Sorry, Zach, did you say yes? Zach?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. Berman? Yes. Bowman? Yes. Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson? Yes. Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson? Yes. Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal? Yes. Long.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Quarles. Spiz.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays, the resolution's been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my final request is immediate consideration under new business for a resolution designating Oakland County the week of Sunday, April 8th, 2018 through Sunday, April 15th, 2018 as days of remembrance, and Thursday, April 12th, 2018 as the day of remembrance of the victims of the Holocaust.
Okay, so we'll have another one where there's a request to suspend the rules, moved by Taub, supported by Quarles. Non-debatable motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Blaine.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The rules have been suspended. Now on the motion itself, moved by Taub, supported by Quarles. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Woodward,
Yes.
Zach, Berman, Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer, Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
sorry, new page, Weipert.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Commissioner Woodward.
Have a resolution that's been distributed, also requesting the suspension of the rules, recognizing School Breakfast Week. We already talked about it, but ranging this week, and we're in the midst of it, so.
So we have a request by Woodward to suspend the rules, supported by Weipert. Non-debatable motion. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioner Zach,
Yes.
Berman, Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub, Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The rules have been suspended. Now on the resolution itself, moved by Woodward, supported by Weipert. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Berman, Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal, Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Weipert,
Yes.
Woodward,
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
20 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, I'd like to just give notice to discharge miscellaneous resolution 18064. Timely, given that the March for Our Lives happens March 24th.
Is this a new resolution?
Nope, we've already introduced it.
We've already introduced it. Okay, so duly noted. Motion to discharge notice.
18064.
18064. Got it. Any other new or miscellaneous business or announcements to come before us this morning? Commissioner McGilvray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to announce that the Great Marshmallow Drop will be held at Catalpa Oaks on March 30th. That's Good Friday at 10 a.m. And all the commissioners are invited. So it's open to everybody, anybody that wants to come. So
Perfect. That's great. Any other new or miscellaneous business or announcements? Seeing none, I'll announce that we're adjourned to March 21st, 2018 at 7 p.m. Or at the call of the chair. We are adjourned.